My friends and family know me as somewhat of a train guy. I collect a lot of model trains and basically I just like trains. So it was no surprise to them when I picked up these B&O railroad crossing lights from the marketplace. Whenever you do a restoration, you've got to ask yourself how much do you want to put into that restoration and just how do you want to restore it. I really didn't want to do a full restoration just because it takes a lot of time and I just don't have a lot of time. But I did want to put these on display so that I could enjoy them and other people could enjoy them that come into my shop. You could clearly see on this set that there had been many years of brushed on paint. It looks like somebody caked on the galvanized painting on everything that is grayish silver, and you can see there's tons of enamel paint that has been caked onto anything that looks black in the picture. So the quick and easy attack here was to kind of just brush off as much rust as I could and take some OSPO and treat that rust. Then go over the existing rust and paint with, well, a new coat of paint. Anything that is galvanized, I'm going to paint with a silver paint that kind of looks like a fresh galvanized paint job. Anything black, we're just going to use some flat black paint. Railroad crossing lights, at least from this era, are actually operated by 12 volts DC. This was done so that they could very easily create a backup battery system so that if the power were to fail, the lights would still work. So what I decided to do was to pull all of the 12 volt wiring out and replace them with something a little more simple and something that runs on our standard 120 volts here in the US. In the local hardware store, I found these items here. I bought two of each. I bought two light bulbs that were 15 watts LED, and they fit into this cord here that has a socket on it. You can't really see it, but it's kind of like a nightlight size socket. The original light bulbs were, as I said, 12 volts, but they were 25 watts. I was trying to keep it a little bit dimmer so it wasn't annoying because I want this to come on automatically when my shop lights are on. And this is a little bit of a dirty installation, but it works and it's going to be just fine. What I did is I just drilled a couple holes in the existing bracket and I zip tied the new socket into place. And of course, we didn't use any of the 12 volt terminals that were in place. We just ran the wires through the conduit. Unfortunately, the reflector mirrors were not in great shape. They've kind of lost some of their mirrorness. Some of the backing has started to come off a little bit. And one of the mirrors was cracked. But I was able to use some of this super weld. I actually like this glue. It works really well if you're patient. You apply it and you use the ultraviolet light in the other end, and it takes about 10 or 15 seconds and it cures that fast. Then you can handle it. Of course, the only problem with this glue is if you have materials that you're gluing that are not clear and the light can't get to it, it takes up to 24 hours for it to cure. When these lights are in operation, they alternate back and forth, so we need some way to control them. This is a control board that I found on Amazon. This is actually from a company, I might be pronouncing this wrong, called Galak. I have used their circuit boards and other light displays and they work really well. Again, I used the super weld to glue the feet down to a thick piece of plastic. This is some HDPE plastic. You can buy this plastic in sheets in some of the bigger hardware stores. And then right before assembly, I decided I wanted to bolt this flat against the wall in my shop. And on the back side, you can see where it kind of has a weird little cutout. And this was so you could mount this to a pole. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if the whole back side of this was flat? So I stuck this in my Harbor Freight mill and I literally milled off all of this material so that it was relatively flat, as you can see in this picture. So this allowed me to lag bolt it to the shop wall. And yes, I did lag bolt it because it is kind of heavy. And you can see how that piece of plastic with the circuit board worked right down inside, and I wired everything up. I don't have a lot of wall space in my shop, and I was able to tuck it here right above the rail of the garage door. In this video, I just plugged it in for the first time, and we're just testing it out to see how it works. I really like how it turned out. Now, these rings have a flat spot across the bottom. They did come that way. I don't really know why, but it worked out in my favor because it doesn't block my paint can storage or even the top left corner of the door. I just thought this would be something fun to share with you guys. If you like these types of videos, don't forget to like and subscribe. Take a look at some of my other videos. At the very least, you might be entertained.